to us, the big star would be the Real American Voices.
Jesus!
All right, yes. Lost his line there.
That's okay.
A very big thank you to Ed Henry and Karyn Turk and Terrance Bates on America's Sunrise. Watch America's Sunrise.
To This American Sunrise, live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And live from our Denver, Colorado studios on this Hump Day Wednesday. So good to see each and every one of you. Ed and Karyn, good morning. Do you guys remember that commercial? It's Hump Day. It was really big back in the day.
No.
No, you don't remember
that either. I mean, I know the phrase.
Yeah.
But I've never.
Whose commercial was that? Bud Light or who was it?
Oh, really? You gonna do me like that? I don't remember whose commercial it was, but it's Hump Day, and it was like a bunch of people singing Hump Day. Yeah, Geico. Okay, I'm just being told it was Geico. Okay, there you go.
Oh.
All right. Well, I was going to say the live chat will tell us, but you know what? Denver's on the ball. As always, we appreciate it. What's interesting is yet another indictment coming, apparently, for President Trump, right? He called it. We had breaking news yesterday.
Coming.
And then we're hearing this morning, Georgia grand jury, which we've been hearing about for months. Maybe in the next week or two, there'll be I guess that would be the fourth indictment if there's a third indictment from Jack Smith over January 6th, the second one being over classified documents, the first one being New York, hush payments. We're going to have to get a scorecard at some point.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is last night the president does his town hall with Hannity, and it's in Iowa, I believe. And, look at this. And Carly Bonet, one of our great viewers, says, the boss.
Ooh,
normally these town halls, you might have 50 people, 100 people, because they stage it, and whatever network does it. This was just a huge party. He walks out like he's on top of the world. Throw whatever indictment you want at him.
He's on top of the world.
Here he is.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, great to see you.
And he gave an answer about Hillary at one point. People are shouting, lock her up. This is like back to 2016 in the hours.
Yeah. It's like rock concert level. And I think about, you have on your desk this thing that says the man, the myth, the legend. That's all I could think when he walked out.
Well, I was talking about myself.
I know you're talking about
but
yourself.
I should be talking about the president.
Maybe it is about Donald Trump. It's on your desk, but...
It was quite the reception, and I think that reception that we just heard goes to the point that President Trump continues to make, that all of these cases against him are election interference. We see the kind of support he has, not just in the polls, but that's man-to-man, woman-to-woman, people showing up in support of the 45th president. And so it does appear that all of these cases against him are attempts to try to sully his campaign, to try to derail his campaign, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just that live, moment. He's able to create these magical moments, where real people come together. Nobody else does this way.
Well, and maybe there was a message to the Republican rivals, right? I mean, think about DeSantis was on Fox Sunday saying, I just had some stuff in Iowa. I had 30 or 40 people there, Karyn. And people mocked him, saying, 30 or 40 people? What are you talking about? And then a message maybe to Fox itself, because they rebooted their primetime lineup this week. On Tuesday morning, Chadwick Moore just did a biography of Tucker Carlson, said this: sources at Fox are telling me that last night's, that was Monday night's, much-hyped primetime reboot was ratings disaster. Executives are panicked. Hannity lost to Maddow at MSNBC, Karyn, and the 8 o'clock show, that was Tucker's, now Jesse, only pulled in 149,000 from the key demo. Tucker used to get about 400,000 in that advertiser-friendly, the younger demo. More to come. Now, I will say Tuesday night it seemed better. There are other numbers suggesting it's not as good as it was when Tucker was there, but it's better than it's been recently. So I want to be fair that the numbers fluctuate. But the point is, when they were ignoring Trump in prime time, right? Their numbers were down. They get rid of Tucker. But I bet you the numbers from Hannity's town hall are going to be great.
Numbers have been down for years.
But with Trump on there last night, the numbers are going to be pretty damn good because look at the crowd.
Of course.
But they've been shunning Trump. And by extension, Terrance, they've been shunning the base of the party.
Absolutely. And it's not good for business, and it's also not good journalism. Whether you like him or not, he is a story. President Trump is a story. He is a newsmaker, and so he should be covered as such. And again, if we're just honest about it, media organizations are still businesses. They're still about the bottom line. And President Trump is always going to be good for business.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that our team put that as a primetime reboot for Fox.
Yeah.
Can we reboot the president, the current president? Because, it's like...
no, you can't. I mean, that mainframe's completely shot.
It's like, when Ralph and Chuck says he's got a mainframe, and you get one of those old computers, and it freezes, and then you got to push the button, and sometimes you got to... With the iPhone, you got to hit buttons on both sides and hold it for a few. I think Joe Biden literally needs a reboot. He's with the Israeli president yesterday. If you look at the Israeli president's face closely, he looks alarmed, like, what the heck is going on? Yeah. His head is down. He's literally falling asleep in these meetings now in the Oval Office. Watch.
And we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Akra and as well as Shram. Yes. And as I affirmed the Prime Minister.
And he's mumbling.
I mean, where is the nurse's aide? Where is someone to help this
Jill?
man?
Where's that nice lady Jill?
Where's the nice lady Jill? Well, the nice lady Jill isn't doing a very good job taking care of him.
She's trying to watch Hunter. He's sweating on the balcony.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's fed up with Hunter.
Look at that. So there's the zoom, and he's like, what the heck is going on? The Israeli president is like...
And there was mumbling. And, contextually, again, this is still on the world stage. He's meeting with a world leader. Yes, it's the president, not the prime minister of Israel. Still a world leader, someone who is going to be addressing a joint session of Congress today. And so one would expect that the president, the leader of your country, in this case, Joe Biden, would be alert, would be engaging. And everything that we just saw is just the opposite of both of those things.
It's actually shocking that they put him in these meetings at all. I'm actually shocked that they don't keep him behind closed doors. I mean, they have to.
The president.
It's all very shocking. I mean, the man's asleep.
Have you ever had an In-N-Out burger?
I have had an In-N-Out burger.
Okay.
I have.
Well, I was wondering, because she had not been to Waffle House, and we fixed that. So what do you think about In-N-Out? Because you're a connoisseur.
I love In-N-Out. And, you typically only get it on the West Coast. There are several here in the Denver location. Hence, my waistline has expanded since I've moved here. But yeah, I love, our whole family are In-N-Out fans. Yes, absolutely.
Some people are freaks about it. And then others I would be honest that I like it. But when I heard the hype being an East Coast guy and eventually made it out to California,
it was underwhelming.
Right?
Yeah, that would be the word I would use. Underwhelming would be the word, But in any event, they are kind of a cult favorite. But look at this now. The company has decided to ban employees from wearing masks. And the left has melted down over this, Karyn. Basically, what they're saying is, so as Terrance said, they're also now outside California, Colorado, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah. And they say, quote, we are introducing new mask guidelines emphasizing the importance of customer service and the ability to show our associates smiles and other facial features while considering the health and well-being of all individuals. We know already the science. The mask didn't prevent people from getting sick on the other side of the burger. Now they can actually interact with people and
you
be
can't
kind
hear
to them.
Sometimes you're like,
you can't hear. I mean, you can't see the person.
Did you say ketchup? What did you say? I can't tell from the mask. And the left is now freaking, an In-N-Out burger, ban masks, Terrance. And it's just like, how many studies do we have to look at to say that this was all BS? Can we just enjoy our burgers?
Absolutely. And this is a business decision based on what In-N-Out Burger is describing. This is about the customers. It's about making sure that customers have a better experience when dealing with customer service, or in this case, the servers. And so, let's be honest. We are out of the pandemic at this point. Whether you agree with masking or not, we're out of the pandemic. A majority of Americans don't wear masks anymore. There aren't masking rules in place anymore. So let capitalism live. Let In-N-Out Burger live and continue to be.
You want to fire up Karyn? We were in Bedminster, and we were going to Newark Airport and everything in New Jersey. And she's obviously from New Jersey, and it's you've got Republicans and America First people there like Donald Trump, but then you have a lot of leftists, right?
You do.
And every time we were somewhere outside of New Jersey, we saw people with masks. She's literally like, "What in the heck is going on?"
Yeah. I had some choice words here and there. Like, the stupidity is just rampant. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't remember the last time I saw someone wearing a mask. Like, it's very rare. I can't
on the East Coast, you still see it. It's interesting you say that because we were up in New Jersey. You saw a fair number of people.
And you try to, in my head, I'm like, okay, you don't know. Maybe the person has a medical condition. Maybe there's some other
we want to
reason.
be respectful.
But then, sometimes you can just tell. You can just tell, like, where it's going.
That there's someone who's crazy. Let's just say it. And you see it on planes.
And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing because we can spot them easier now. Like, you can spot the crazies. You're like, that one's crazy. That one's crazy. Yeah.
Can we send illegal immigrants to your home? You should have Biden on that mask. And you guys want to let all these people across the borders. Let's send them to your house. How about that? I don't know if you've seen this video. This is apparently Belgian defense cadets. Okay, and they're part of NATO, and we keep talking about, NATO, we're going to jump in. Attack on one is attack on all. Could you imagine these folks fighting alongside our brave men and women in American uniforms? Watch. The arms shuffling around get me, but this first guy, as a cadet, seems a little old and maybe a little too many In-N-Out burgers. Is he really ready to fight? Or maybe he's bleeding. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, that's really... are you sure this is like a real thing? This isn't like a parody?
I went down a rabbit hole. It's real. But I'll double check.
It feels like a parody. This
I'm
feels
with
like
you on that one,
real
Karyn.
to me.
Especially with
All
the
right, I'm gonna
music.
double
Like,
check.
it doesn't sound like ceremonial music. It's like, like,
okay. All right, you're both going to turn on me. All right, I'm just trying to have fun. You guys,
We're gonna find out.
All right, forget it. Then we won't have fun today.
What are you talking about?
All right, speaking of wacky defenses, okay, I'm going to try to turn from defense cadets. Look at Democrat Jamal Bowman. He's from New York. Explain away the cocaine scandal at the White House. Talk to a Fox reporter. Watch.
Fox, right?
Yes.
I'm mad at Fox.
Okay.
Not you. You're great. But I'm mad at Fox. What's up?
Okay. I wanted to know if you have concerns that there was an illicit substance brought to the White House and no one seems to be able to find out whose it was.
I'm concerned always about illicit substances. No harm, no foul, and we move on.
What? No harm.
No foul. Wow. Wow.
The next one's better. But
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
I can't say that I'm surprised.
These are Democratic lawmakers. They've been elected. No harm, no foul. Cocaine.
I'm mad at illicit substances.
Right.
But no harm, no foul. Really?
Okay, the next one's better. Okay, so this woman, another Democrat, Alyssa Slotkin, she says, look, I take this seriously if you listen. They should be investigating this. And the reporter, Hillary Vaughn, does a great job and says, they were, but they shut it down. Mm-hmm. And she basically says, oh, really?
Really? Yeah.
She's not following the story. She's an elected member of Congress. Watch.
We need to do an investigation. If there's an illegal drug, find who.
They're ending their investigation, though. Is that a problem?
They need. I think. I'm sorry. I'm just not up on the details. I didn't know they were ending the investigation.
And that's someone who is going to be voting on issues that affect everyday Americans' everyday lives. And this person isn't up on an investigation involving what is known as the People's House and drugs in the People's House.
Do you not read the newspaper?
Right.
You're a member of Congress, so I don't know, pick up a paper.
Yeah, but now you want the left to actually read? What are we talking about? To use logic.
Here's the other thing. You're working on Capitol Hill. It's only a few miles from the White House. So how do you not know what's happening between the White House and the U.S. Capitol, particularly a story that's gained national and international attention like cocaine being found in the West Wing? Makes no sense.
All right, let's get a couple real American voices. This is from Craig. And the only way someone would leave a bag of drugs behind is if that someone had an unlimited supply. Who would have an unlimited?
Who that could be.
Yeah, Karyn, is this a mystery, or do you think is this a Scooby-Doo mystery?
I feel like it is a Scooby-Doo. I mean, I think only Scooby-Doo could potentially solve this mystery.
Oh, so now you want to have fun. I bring you this really funny video, and there's no fun, and now you're making Scooby-Doo noises. That's cool. Okay, all right. You let me know when we can have fun, all right?
Okay, you know what? Let's be serious again, Ed. I'm sorry.
No. Well, you want to read the next? Go for it.
Oh, you want me to do it? I'll do it. Yeah. Well, you want me to talk about you because, Ed Henry, this is about you. Thanks for being a shining light of truth, and I'm sure it's about all of us.
It says great show. It wasn't about me. That's why I asked you to read it.
On my paper.
I was trying to share the joy. I can't see the
paper and the monitor at the same time. That's why we're reading glasses.
That's too much fun. Doing both at the same time.
Yeah, there's no fun today. Karyn has decided there's no fun in the show.
Me?
I wanted you to know. Yeah, I think you started it, and then Terrance
jumped in. I'm the problem. It's me. Okay.
Yeah, there's a T Swift song like that. Yeah, you should.
15 after the show is off the rails. Go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
All right, this is a funny one. Maybe Karyn will like this. So the Democrats push these bans on gas stoves, right? And we know that's happening. Republicans call a hearing to say we don't agree with this. Democrats say, oh, no, this is a conspiracy theory. It's not really happening, even though we know it's happening. And they say what the Republicans are trying to do, this is what this Democrat actually says, is they're trying to distract from all the winning by Biden. He's winning so much that they're trying to have these hearings.
I have to hear this woman say this. Let me hear it.
You're going to have some fun. This is good. What?
I regret that this committee continues to hold hearings on things that do not exist, like a bogus ban on gas stoves, while ignoring the real economic and energy issues affecting people across this country. Could it be that this is part of an effort by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to distract from the numerous wins of the Biden administration?
Can we count the wins? How many wins have they had?
What is going on?
I would have loved to have heard her describe what she considers wins. That would have been some substance. I'd love to hear what she considers wins.
Inflation is only 6,000%. It was 8,000% last month, Terrance. It's way down. That's one of the wins.
Huh? There you go. Sunny side up.
All right, Jesus calling.
Yeah, let's do it. Jesus calling today. Bring me all of your feelings, even the ones you wish you didn't have. Blazing missiles of fire fly at you day and night. These attacks from the evil one come to you relentlessly. Use your shield of faith to extinguish those flaming arrows. Affirm your trust in me regardless of how you feel. If you persist, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. And this comes from Isaiah 12:2. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation.
That's absolutely terrific.
Beautiful.
Watch those flaming arrows from the evil ones. That's what I took away. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Terrance, I know you have some headlines.
That's right, guys. Anticipation is rising as the two IRS whistleblowers who claim the Department of Justice and the FBI slow-walked the Hunter Biden investigations are set to testify publicly before the House Oversight Committee this afternoon. It's already been an enlightening week for the committee following testimony from an FBI agent who worked the Hunter Biden case who claims that investigators were pretty much told to stand down and thus never able to question the first son over various potential tax crimes and other alleged criminal acts. Committee Chairman James Comer says some of those alleged crimes involve bribery and corruption and extend from Hunter Biden all the way up to now President Biden. The alleged crimes are believed to have happened while Mr. Biden was serving as vice president. Meantime, many on the right are calling the timing of a letter President Trump received this week, alerting him that he is a target of a grand jury investigation, curious. On Tuesday, one day before the aforementioned whistleblowers were set to testify about alleged crimes involving the Biden family, the 45th president released this statement about special counsel Jack Smith's warning, saying in part that he was given 4 days to report to the grand jury, which in his words almost always means an arrest and an indictment. According to the former president, the investigation will focus on January 6th and alleged attempts to overturn the election results. President Trump ends the statement with capital letters writing, "This witch hunt is all about election interference and a complete and total political weaponization of law enforcement," he says. From this afternoon's whistleblower testimony to Israeli President Isaac Herzog addressing a joint session of Congress, a busy day is on tap at the U.S. Capitol. After meeting with President Biden on Tuesday, today's speech is expected to focus on reassuring the United States about Israel's continued commitment to democracy despite a publicly criticized attempt by the country's ruling body to overhaul Israel's judicial system. The address by the Israeli President Isaac Herzog, whose position is largely ceremonial, comes after the U.S. House voted 412-9 on Tuesday on a resolution affirming support for Israel. 9 Democrats voted against that bill. All of them are from the Progressive Caucus, including Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and Cori Bush of Missouri. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get you back to Ed and Karyn.
Guys, if there was a company and they went through 5 audits and they failed them, and then somebody said, well, we want to look at your assets, and they could not account for 61% of their assets, do you think that company would be bankrupt?
I think that might be a problem.
What if that company I told you was the Pentagon, our Defense Department? Failed 5 audits, cannot account for 61% of their assets. They got some pretty big assets like planes and things.
61%, wow.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after a quick break. It's a defense story. The Belgian defense story didn't go over well, but I think the American defense one will. We'll do it right after a quick break.
Right now. I can't afford the groceries. I can't afford your gas.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Now high on this plane, cocaine. I get high, my ride with my pride. Cocaine.
That's right, cocaine, user's prayer. Check it out, mailmanmediamusic.com. Started with an idea from you, a little cover of Eric Clapton.
There goes my phone.
But I know you like music, but you got to keep the volume down.
I'm in the ghetto chat.
There you go. And they were replaying a little bit of AMAC there. How about that? So I want to put a couple of things. So is there a hidden danger in all this pronoun mess? I mean, we make fun of it, but look at the Babylon Bee.
I mean, why do we even have this pronoun mess?
We should
discuss that.
Well, what about this? Have you ever thought of this? Man drowns as politically correct passengers struggle to describe what just went overboard. So would you struggle to say man overboard now and just say, I'm non-binary, and then the person drowns? Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's
terrible.
not funny, I guess.
I mean, it's not really funny.
Right. But
yeah.
this could happen, given all this. It's interesting. We had a funny segment with Michael Loftus yesterday, and someone brought up something that I think you would appreciate, because you remember Paul Pelosi and used to say his friend David?
David, yeah, his friend David. Where is David?
Well, Tweet Potato said the couple role-playing yesterday in the Michael Loftus story about the house burning down with a flamethrower is like Paul Pelosi playing Hammer Time.
With his friend David.
His friend David.
I love that.
I knew you would like that. Let's get to the real headlines. They're sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
You know, Terrance, when the viewer sent that in, it was like a trick that Karyn had. Every time we mentioned Paul Pelosi for a couple weeks, oh, how's his friend David?
Yeah, I miss David. And
But
Paul.
you know what's also interesting? What happened to that story? What was the truth?
We don't hear about them anymore.
Just
Where are they? What are they doing?
What really
are they on vacation?
David?
Maybe Paul and David.
Oh, no, I think he's with Nancy.
You think so?
Yeah. That's
Not with David?
No, they were friends. What do you mean? I don't know what you're suggesting.
I'm sorry, I'm still caught up on the flamethrower versus Hammer Time. I was over here chuckling.
That was a good song. Was MC Hammer Time?
You're right. Don't hurt him, Hammer. Yeah, absolutely. All right, before I get us all in trouble, let me just go straight to these headlines, guys. How about that? A handful of Democrats plan to boycott today's address to a joint session of Congress by Israeli President Isaac Herzog. The boycott comes after 9 House Democrats were the only members of Congress to vote against a resolution on Tuesday affirming U.S. support for the Jewish state. Today's speech coincides with the 75th anniversary of the founding of Israel.
After the horrors of the Holocaust, the Jewish people fled to their homeland and declared Israel a nation. The United States was the first country to recognize Israel a nation. The United States has been paving the way for an everlasting friendship. For the past 75 years, Israel has been a crucial partner and a shining beacon of democracy in the Middle East. With anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli hate at home and abroad rising, it is now more important than ever that the United States stand with Israel. I'm honored to welcome President Herzog to Washington, D.C., and I look forward to continuing our enduring partnership.
President Herzog's father, Chaim Herzog, is the only other Israeli president to have the distinction of addressing a joint session of Congress. That speech was more than 35 years ago. Today's address also comes after Republican Kevin McCarthy became only the second U.S. Speaker of the House to address the Israeli Knesset. That was back in May. Well, we could find out as soon as today if Judge Aileen Cannon will grant motions to delay President Trump's classified documents trial and how long. Right now, the trial is set to begin August 14th, but prosecutors want it pushed back until December. President Trump's legal team is asking that the trial be put off indefinitely. During a hearing on Tuesday, Judge Cannon didn't appear inclined to grant the Trump team's request, saying, quote, "We need to set a schedule." However, she also pointed out that there has never been a classified documents case that had gone to trial in less than 6 months, seemingly dealing a blow to the prosecution's timeline as well. Mr. Trump's lawyers argue because the Justice Department, which is bringing the case against President Trump, is under current President Joe Biden, the prosecution could be seen as, quote, two leading contenders for president of the United States squaring off in court. The 45th president's lawyers also believe that setting a trial date in the near future would impact President Trump's ability to properly campaign. President Trump is charged with violations of the Espionage Act for alleged unauthorized possession of defense information. As the case against President Trump drags on, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is calling for special counsel Jack Smith's investigation to be defunded. He says that he plans to introduce legislation to do just that over concerns that President Trump's prosecution is politically motivated.
They are attacking our democracy and engaging in election interference right now. And if the United States Congress does not have the capability to stop that election interference, well, then what is all the flowery oratory about preserving the republic. We have to operationalize that.
Congressman Gates says he also has concerns about the DOJ's transparency relative to the special counsel's investigation. He claims he has repeatedly asked Attorney General Merrick Garland for a list of people on Jack Smith's investigative team, but hasn't received a response. The Florida congressman believes that sort of information will help put the evidence being presented in better perspective. That's a quick check of your headlines brought to you by AMAC. I'll have more headlines coming your way here in just a little bit. Now, let's get you back to Ed and Karyn.
All right, Terrance, so why don't you stay along for the ride? Because I asked you guys about this audits a moment ago, right? So the Pentagon has apparently failed not one, but 5 audits, and now cannot account for 61% of their assets. This from Congressman Clay Higgins. Watch.
Or maybe it's a minor error. Maybe it's a minor error. They make adjustments. They have another audit. They fail that audit. Does the bank change course? Say, well, you tried. We're going to give you money. Can they get money, Mr. Mansfield?
No.
They cannot.
We're not.
Thank you for your candor. Here's the problem with this bank. We don't even have the money. We're giving you $1 trillion a year almost now. We just added $1 trillion to our national debt in 1 month. Can any of you gentlemen promise in the near future a clean audit, Mr. Tenaglia?
So I would ask the comptroller to help me provide you with a timeline that the comptroller is indicating is the pathway to a clean audit.
A pathway to a clean audit. Everyone's been there where the boss calls you in for details, and you're like,
$1 trillion.
Yeah, the one guy's like, maybe the comptroller has an answer, but go ahead.
I'm just going over the numbers. 61%. Where are those assets? Where are they? Where are they, Terrance?
Me, teacher.
Yes.
Afghanistan, can you say a lot of assets were left
it all behind? Yeah.
Ukraine, we sent billions, tens of billions of dollars worth of assets there. That's part of it. You know, I'm no comptroller, but I do follow the news. I do follow the news. Those would be 2 places to start looking, I would think.
That's well ahead of representatives in Congress on the Democrat side, as we saw earlier.
We started the show with Democrats who don't watch the news and don't know that the cocaine investigation at the White House is over.
They don't know.
They don't even read the newspaper anymore. And so why would the Pentagon try to keep track of all these weapons and whatnot? And I think Congressman Higgins was right. He's saying, we're the bank. It's everyone in our audience.
And we have no money. And we're giving you $1 trillion a year.
We're over $30 trillion in debt. You're right, to your point, to his point. And then they keep coming back to the bank, which is the U.S. taxpayers, for more. You have to account for it. I mean, if your parents give you a little bit of money and then you just lose it, they're not just going to keep giving you the money.
Right.
And this is what we're doing. It's insane.
And to your point, I think implicit in what Congressman Higgins was saying is that to some degree, Congress is also complicit in this because they continue to fund the military. They continue to siphon money into the military and towards the Pentagon. Obviously, it's for national defense. But at what point in time do you as a lawmaker stop and say, okay, I need an accounting of how this money is being spent. I need a proper accounting. And without that, I'm going to stop. I'm going to pull the purse strings tight. I'm not sending any more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it would have happened already. This is unbelievable. 5 audits.
Well, and Donald Trump talks about it at the rallies, about the first point you made about Afghanistan, right? How stupid it was. He calls it stupid that we spent billions of dollars on these weapons, and when we got out of Afghanistan, Biden just left all the weapons behind. And then what happens? Now, so we waste the money. But then those weapons are sold on the black market and the rest by the Taliban. And those weapons paid for by U.S. taxpayers could be used by terrorists and others to come after us and our allies.
Yeah, stupid's such a simple word for like this huge, complicated problem of just idiocy.
Which is why Trump can be blunt and get to the point. Go ahead.
Can I just bring your point full circle? And it also goes back to the southern border, because we know that fighting age military men from the Middle East and around the world are crossing the southern border into these United States and potentially could use some of the weapons that we left behind on American people. So it really is a full circle issue.
Great point. You're absolutely right. And we got it right there. No accountability. And that's why people are pretty upset. Real quick, couple Real American Voices. Return to him talked about our segment with Tony Schaefer about the ammo shortage at that same Pentagon. Let's go down the rabbit hole, Return says, Karyn. With the shortage of ammo and the influx of illegals, which Terrance just mentioned, and Ukraine, who knows what other things that will go on. Let's play what if. If we have more armed IRS agents now, where's the ammo coming from? Illegals of military age, Terrance just said that if we're being invaded, will we have enough ammo to defend this republic? How much more ammo will we give to Ukraine? It goes on and on. But Karyn, I'd love for you to read the next one from George Colella.
I love George Colella, born to ride 45. Do you know MAGA patriots have plenty of ammo?
I don't think George is wanting for ammo, and he would use it responsibly.
Definitely not.
Yeah, nobody's suggesting anything untoward, but we're just saying there are a lot of patriots out there that have made sure that they're exercising their constitutional rights, Terrance.
No, it's true. It's true. I've had this conversation with many people who say if there is an issue in their community from outside or within, they're ready to handle it. I'll put it that way.
All right, there we are. There's a Second Amendment in this country. At least there is still currently right now. Coming up, you heard that they're giving out reparations potentially in Fulton County there in Georgia? Carolyn Ryan's on that story coming up live. There she is. We got the Resistance Chicks going to react to that. And also, did you hear Maybelline might be the next Bud Light? They're using men to sell makeup right after this.
Get ready and move to a state. The super red light blood suit whooping their face. I make this music.
Truth Bombers, 81 million votes. My ass. Put down Hunter's crack pipe right now.
Right now.
And instead, pick up some Spike support. That's yes. Right. TWC.health/RAV. You're going to get 10% off. On the left there, you see this wonderful supplement from Dr. McCullough. healthy heart and muscle. The one in the middle, spike support. Hey, you're going to...
mine.
Oh, you're taking yours. Okay,
Yeah.
you took it away. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
a lot of spike proteins out there, so people can take that spike support. And remember, we had another doctor on yesterday from the wellness company talking about women who are trying to bear children, and these spike proteins can be very difficult for them. And that's a good idea to take spike support while they're trying to have children, but maybe not during the actual pregnancy. So you got to read up on that and follow all the guidelines closely, of course. But Dr. Schmidt's restful sleep formula. I keep getting posts about this. People are actually most interested in that.
People are really interested in that. A lot of people not sleeping.
Is Kelly in the Woods going to come on the show? Have you
She
arranged
will.
that?
She
Okay,
will.
good.
She's going to come.
All right, we're looking forward to that. In the meantime, let's bring in our friend Carolyn Ryan. You saw her on Monday. She was filling in for Karen and doing a great job, of course.
Yes.
Back to reporting big stories. And it sounds like there's something big coming out of Fulton County. What's going on there in Georgia? Good morning, Carolyn.
Hey, good morning. So we're talking about reparations this morning, and really California was the first state to start a serious debate on this conversation. You may recall the state reparations task force recently issued a final report after they looked into this for the last couple of years, and it recommended a slew of remedies, including cash payments, which could end up being as much as $1.2 million for each eligible Black person. Well, now we have a county right here in Georgia who appears to be following in California's footsteps. Fulton County, Georgia voted last week to fund a study that will explore whether to give reparations to Black people. So here's the details. The Fulton County Board of Commissioners first voted to form a reparations task force back in 2021. Well, now in a 4-2 vote, it has given that task force the green light to move forward with a study that will probe the issue further. So taxpayers are going to foot the $210,000 bill for this initiative. Proponents saying that the descendants of slaves can and should be compensated for what happened to their ancestors who were forced to work as property for white slave owners. Now, 2 Republicans on the board voted against it, though, saying it is a divisive issue that will tear this county apart. Commissioner Bridget Thorne also saying the study is a waste of taxpayer money. Listen.
This is just such a divisive concept. I just don't think this is a wise expenditure of our money because we need a jail and we need hospital care for South Fulton. I feel like it's just going to hurt Fulton County. It's just going to rip us apart.
Okay, so you just heard from Commissioner Thorne there talking about other critical issues that could use that money right now, like the jail. Let me tell you about the jail here in Fulton County. It just so happens to be under federal investigation right now for possible civil rights violations. It is known for being overcrowded and filthy. DOJ officials citing 2 recent deaths as part of its investigation, including the death of one inmate who was reportedly held in a bed bug infested cell. The autopsy of that inmate's death found he died of neglect. Photos showed his body covered in insects. But Democrats on the commission are saying, listen, that's funding for this reparations study is just a fraction of the budget. They hope they're going to be able to fund that study and other important issues like the jail that I just mentioned. Listen here.
I respect her perspective, but I would hope that she would respect mine. To me, if you walked in the shoes of my ancestors and others who of color, your perspective would not be that. The purpose of the reparations task force is to evaluate if reparations are warranted, if they are warranted, in what form. Should they be educational? Should they be financial? What should they be?
So the task force has been given until late next year to report back. Although according to our local paper here in Atlanta, the AJC, a preliminary report from that same task force has already found that Fulton County benefited from exploiting slave labor while African American residents paid for public services that they couldn't use. So based on that preliminary report they've already delivered, you can take an educated guess as to what the outcome of this next study is going to be, guys.
Incredible.
Yeah, really incredible.
And so many priorities in the county, like you're talking about this prison, it's out of control. I assume there's homelessness like we see here in West Palm and New York and every city pretty much around the country. And the money's not going to those priorities, and now we're going to study this. Your final thought on that?
Well, now we're going to study this, but when the task force comes back and they say, hey, like in California, we recommend $1.2 million per eligible Black person, now what? Now where does the money come for that? So you have to think about the next steps. These studies have long-term consequences. You got to look at the full picture.
Really incredible, yeah.
Carolyn, appreciate your reporting. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning as well. In the meantime, let's bring in the Resistance Chicks. You see them this time every Wednesday morning. Ladies, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ed and Karen.
Great to see you. Your thoughts about priorities in this country right now? We see homeless veterans sleeping on the streets, I'm sure, of Cincinnati near where you are. And we're studying reparations. And if they go through in a place like Fulton County, it's going to be $1.2 million per person. And you kind of wonder not only where's the money going to come from, but then what are you not going to pay for? What person, white, black, whatever race, who's a homeless vet, who's not going to get taken care of because you're spending money on other priorities? What are your thoughts?
I think that when we're looking at a study for reparations, the big main question is, where does the money come from? The money is going to come from other people who may not be able to afford life as it is right now. Have they looked at people's grocery bills? Have they looked at their car payments? Have they looked at the interest rates? Young families right now can't even afford to buy homes. This is a market that is insane. And for these Democrats to come in and say, let's look at reparations, while literally the sky is falling around us, it shows that these people should not be in office. They do not understand the world, and they certainly don't understand what is really affecting the average person.
Yeah, we all feel it. It's heavy right now, and it seems like it's just getting worse and worse and worse with the inflation.
It really does, even though the White House keeps saying it's getting better. Ladies, I want to turn to something else here. I'll have to admit, I can't be a hypocrite. I do know something about makeup because I do wear it on television, but not out of the studio, just to be clear.
Sure, Ed.
I knew you guys might jump on me, so that was a risk there. Maybelline will put up this post. Now taking lessons. Look at their new model, huh? Now taking lessons from Bud Light. Time to tank the pockets. Maybelline. Here's a video of how they're promoting their makeup now. Ladies, watch.
Prime Day on Amazon, so why not see if Maybelline has any deals going on? And look at that! Super Stay Vinyl Ink is 30% off, and my favorite colors are in stock and ready to ship. My Amazon order arrived the next day, and here I am, filming a makeup review. And baby, check out this color and shine. It's so comfortable, and it will not budge or smudge for up to 16 hours. Let me know what you think, and shop Maybelline Prime deals for 30% off right now.
Okay, that video, literally, that was a gag reflex. Like,
I feel the same way. That was my
I literally was like, I can't watch this. I don't know what it was about that video, but like that made me gag.
Okay, insight to a woman's mind. When you watch makeup commercials and you see a woman that looks absolutely beautiful, like Karen, and you think, oh my gosh, I want to look like Karyn Turk. What makeup does she have? I want that. Now you're going to look at the bearded dude. No female wants to say, hey, I'd like to pluck a little facial hair. What is the thing in his beard? It's a little. What is that? That beard bedazzled.
Yeah, what is that?
Stop.
You're right.
It's a barrette. I think it's a barrette. It's like one of those big barrettes that you kind of click, and it's clicked there in the beard. Yeah,
it's like the Bud Light. Okay, it's a hurl reaction. I think this is the same women hurl reaction, like with the Mulvaney thing. The guys are like, no, I can't.
Now we don't want to ever wear Maybelline ever. I'm throwing out anything Maybelline, which I don't think I have, going in the trash.
Dude is not a lady.
Wait, Karen's. What is the hand thing?
I have a problem.
What?
I have a problem that the best lipstick of all time is made by Maybelline, and I'm actually not even joking because I've tried a lot of expensive lipstick. But my friend Dixie turned me on to Maybelline Infallible lipstick, and it is the bomb.
Karen,
I don't know how I'm getting around this one.
You can't.
I know. I hear you. You guys have to help me. I have a serious problem.
Ask the viewers, hey guys, what's the best lipstick? Ladies, not guys.
But it's got to be like a super stay. I need like a super stay, like won't budge, like 24-hour all day lipstick. And this isn't sticky. You put it on. Oh, it's good. So yeah, please recommendations immediately.
Let me give you one I use. Let me give you the one I use. No, I'm kidding. This is tea. It's not lipstick. It's tea. I was waiting for your reaction. Can I put up one more story?
Oh.
Yeah, this is from a Real American Voice. M. Whirlwind. This is absolutely insane. I don't even have words for this anymore. And it's leading to a story on the right there. A female Lutheran pastor in Minnesota has gone viral for leading her congregation in a Sparkle Creed prayer in honor of LGBT Pride Month. She described God as, quote, non-binary and Christ Jesus as having, quote, two dads. Ladies?
I watched this. This was hilarious. It sounds like it should be an episode of South Park or something. And the congregation was nodding in like solemn agreement
because they are under some sort of satanic spell. At this point, you are not Lutheran. This is not. You are idol worshiping.
Martin Luther is rolling over in his grave. My great grandfather was a Lutheran minister from Norway. Okay, came here from America. He is rolling over in his grave. No. Jesus, no. Okay.
Sparkle Creed is reserved for some other religion, not Christianity.
Sparkle Creed, yeah.
Yeah, and they described him as wearing a fabulous tunic as well.
Oh, really?
That was part of
their
everything that they talked about. Yeah.
This is absolutely insane. Ladies, we appreciate you coming in every Wednesday. Always have a lot of fun with you. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break. We're going to stay awake, not woke, right after this. Sponsored by Beard Vet.
The crime was committed in broad daylight. We're living on planet
till I'm blue in the face. Us patriots better get ready and move to a state that's super red like blood suit whoop in they face. I make this music for the truth won't erase. Get on CNN, rock and show up 2 minutes late and tell them off like
That's
Trump because they news always fake.
The truth ain't one. Check it out with Lowe's Alexander. I got my energy drink pump ready to go.
There you go.
Stay awake, not woke. This This is sponsored by Beard Vet Coffee, the best coffee, no burnt soy or liberal tears. And then if you take a bottle of water here and you just give it a little pump, you got a little energy in there. I'm going to shake it up and I'm going to try it in a minute.
Cool.
So you go to beardvet.com, use that promo code RAV. You're going to get 10% off the coffee, the energy drinks. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty special. I've been drinking this the last couple of days and it's good.
Super simple.
It absolutely is. In the meantime, let's make sure we expose the woke agenda after this. A viewer sent this in. How about this coffee mug? Rebelette for Trump. Great viewer. What a great vintage coffee mug. I think you guys need to buy this. So it's a thermal Vote Republican mug. You see that with the elephant? It's like a throwback.
It's cute. $2. I'll buy it.
I wonder where... I got to go find the original post and figure out. Somebody's going to buy it before we get there.
I'm sure for $2.
Look at that. It's kind of cool, and it's a thermal mug. So you know what? It's going to keep your coffee hot. In the meantime, did you see this video from overseas? This dad decided he wanted to expose drag queens dressed as prostitutes actually reading sexually charged books to children. Watch.
Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the story.
This is a disgrace. Men dressed as prostitutes reading filth to children. Look at all these people here, lads. They're a protection of grooming.
Get your hand off me!
You're the one.
Get your hand off me!
Look at this, lads. They're all around me.
You know, we'll bring in Terrance as well. What are you hiding? And we always hear this like, oh, this is just story time. They're with the kids.
Why would they shut it down this way?
If somebody wants to videotape it, you got nothing to hide. Why are people pushing the camera away, putting up pieces of paper? We don't want you to see this. What the heck is going on, Terrance?
You're publicly interacting with kids, or you're publicly interacting with people in this manner. So then when someone publicizes what you're doing, one has to raise the question, what do you want to hide? You're obviously out in the open doing this without publicity. So now that someone wants to videotape you doing this, if you have nothing to hide, then what would your objection be?
Right. Yeah.
And hats off to this dad. We've seen this in other places. That was in Europe, where people have said, enough is enough. I want to speak up and protect children. And I think the Sound of Freedom has obviously focused a lot of people on a lot of these big issues.
Absolutely.
Why don't we get some Getter and True Social, make sure we hear from some real American voices. This came in from Emerson, who was in West Palm this weekend, and wrote to me, it was great meeting you and some of the other RAB Patriots, even after working all those hours. You took a few minutes to chat with me, 100% class act, hopefully meet again soon. So Emerson is in the chat a lot, and I'm sure you guys have interacted.
Yes.
Emerson came all this way. I don't know where Emerson's from. And was here for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point Action, and came up after President Trump spoke. We spoke to a lot of real American voices, young people. They came on with David Zier and I. And then Emerson came up. Said I'm in the chat all the time, and it was great to.
That's so nice.
So we talked. I mean, it was, I don't know, I was anchoring for like 9 hours, so I was probably falling asleep when I talked to him, so I feel bad. But it's so great when these people travel from all around the country to see us.
It really is.
Absolutely. And two guys from Long Island, you can't say class act any better than that. Not only did you guys act in a classy way, but I mean, both of you guys from Long Island, class act.
There you go. All
and
right,
classmates.
That's right.
Yes,
How about,
absolutely.
And we were
That's
classmates at St. John the Baptist. Let's get to the next one here. Reaction to our coverage on TPUSA. Oh, look at this person. How about that?
Ooh.
Sal. Ed was sizzling. Really?
Yes.
That's nice of them to say.
You were.
We missed you. We got to get you back.
I know.
How about this one? Tweet Potato. Ed, you're a Suge Knight of music. I love the cocaine song. Woo-hoo. People are downloading that song. We'd like to see it.
That's great.
there you go.
Are.
Sugar Henry. Terrance, you want next?
All right, sure. I got the next one here. This is coming from ALSPMD writing, Ed Henry, there was a time when musicians and actors were blackballed for being communists. Now they're blackballed for being patriots, he writes. And
isn't that interesting, Karen?
Very interesting.
You know, and Tucker had a variation on that at Turning Point where he said, and I saw Roger Stone retweeting this and saying how true, that you're now getting in trouble for telling the truth, not lying. So like Hunter Biden can lie about things. All these people, you know, the FBI officials, they lie. They're not held accountable. But you're someone like Tucker and you speak truth to power and they fire you.
It's very Orwellian, isn't it?
Exactly. I think you're right.
For sure.
You want to get next?
Maybe. I mean, I could do that for us, you know. This is a thank you from Ben Dunn. This
we played his wife's video of the bridge in Vermont last week. I wish I could have recorded her reaction when we were watching. She was so excited. That's amazing.
Anyway,
love you guys.
They say they love us. That's great. We appreciate you watching. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. Brand new hour, American Sunrise. Don't go anywhere. But to us, the big star would be the real American voices.
Jesus!
All right, yes. Lost his line there.
That's okay.
A very big thank you to Ed Henry and Karyn Turk and Terrance Bates on America's Sunrise. Watch America's Sunrise.
To this American Sunrise.
Live from West Palm Beach.
All right, your voice is cracking.
Still a little bit.
I still liked it. I'm all for it. Live from our Denver, Colorado studios. Plus, I don't really want to follow that up. It was so good. Good morning, everyone. I'm Terrance. And Karyn, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, she came in this morning and said her voice wasn't that strong. So I was
100%.
asking her on the way in, do you want to do it? She said, well, you're not going to let me do it? No, I was making sure your voice is okay.
You were making sure I was okay. It was very sweet.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
It was very
At least
considerate.
you understood. There you go.
Sweet, okay. Eddie.
Eddie's the best.
You know what? Shout out to Magomite who calls me Eddie. He said he was under the weather. Couldn't come on a couple days ago. I hope he's watching. I hope he's feeling better. And maybe we'll get him at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And big news, tomorrow we will have the great Naomi Wolf back. She has been sick. She was in the hospital, and she's coming on back, and we're super excited about that. She texted me yesterday and said she missed being on American Sunrise. So she'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. Cash Patel will be here tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, with a big announcement about the J6 song. In the meantime, let's put it up. I saw it up there. DeSantis, a couple days ago, so Joel Fisher was pointing this out. 2 days ago, he said Trump was being unfairly targeted by the DOJ, Karyn. Then yesterday, we find out there's a target letter, and he's going to be indicted again by Jack Smith. And DeSantis came out and basically defended Jack Smith and said Trump should have done a better job on January 6th. Let's play the clip and we'll talk about it.
Difference between being brought up on criminal charges and doing things. Like, for example, I think it was shown how he was in the White House and didn't do anything while things were going on. He should have come out more forcefully. Of course that.
And this is why he has no support. This is why.
He's flipping and flopping. And then did he not see the tweets that Trump set out? Did he not see the speech we've talked about a million times where he said, now go to the Capitol patriotically and peacefully, peacefully and patriotic, probably turned it around. He also filmed videos on the White House lawn that were part of the January 6th investigation where he said, I know people are upset, but it's time to go home. It's time to leave the Capitol. I mean, I don't know how many times President Trump needed to say that.
He's never going to get a break. They're never going to give him a break because he's too powerful. They don't want us in control. They don't want us, the real people.
Right. So DeSantis, what's the deal? Does he see an opening? Oh, he's going to get indicted again. My campaign's floundering. Let's beat up Trump and maybe I'll win.
I suspect that's what's happening, but I think it's a miscalculation because that rhetoric we just heard likely isn't going to go over with the base of the party, and the base of the party is ultimately what would or could get him reelected. So I just think it was a miscalculation on the part of Ron DeSantis and his campaign.
Yeah,
bad move.
Yeah, and the people are speaking. Like you were talking, we played this clip last hour of President Trump at this town hall with Hannity. The news breaks that he's probably going to be indicted again, and people are clapping and they're behind him.
Yeah, because they see the ridiculousness of it all.
And you see him continue to climb in the polls. What about on the opposite side, Biden inflation? This Real American Voice, Tina from Texas. Just saw your segment with Steve Moore on the economy. I'm newly retired. Prices are crazy. Look at this. Went to a supermarket, almost $11, Karen, $10.88 for an 8-pound bag of potatoes. Yeah, you know those bags, 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Those used to be a few bucks.
They used to be like, I remember when they were like $6, and that was probably a year ago.
So this almost double?
Yeah.
It's $11. You're talking $6.
Yeah,
almost
$6.
Double would be $12. And here you have a newly retired person. This is a lot of money, Terrance.
No, absolutely. And, potatoes are one of those staples that traditionally one could buy rather cheaply and feed the entire family, or at least it was sustainable. Right. But at $10.88 for, an 8-pound bag, for a lot of people, that's not affordable anymore. You could get a potato, you can make all kinds of different things out of a bag of potatoes. And, now it's almost like a gourmet meal at those prices.
You know, I'm more grateful.
I love a potato, so this impacts me personally.
I'm more grateful for the potato salad you made me last week because I didn't realize how expensive it was.
Big spender.
Although, they weren't fresh potatoes. They were frozen potatoes? Is that what I learned?
But they were fresh potatoes that I made and I froze. They were in a Tupperware in my freezer.
Okay.
Let's make sure that you know that they were fresh potatoes.
So Ed, I think the translation here is you got leftover potato salad. She made you leftover potato salad.
Some people say fresh, never frozen. Some restaurants, fresh, never frozen. Well, maybe
they were
frozen.
white potatoes. I boiled them.
I love it. Thank you. They were great. In the meantime, that's so funny. They were frozen. This is a reaction to the second grader, the video we played of the family transitioning second grader. Terrance and all. Here's how to couch the male toddler and address argument per the let parents be parents come what may. Imagine a conservative GOP or Tea Party leaning parent taking a 2-year-old, 3, 4, or 5-year-old to the gun range, then in second grade, allowing them to carry into the school. That's tantamount to forcing all the other kids to witness the chaos within this kid's head playing out and forcing that on their mindset, individuals, and as a group. Children are being trafficked, and parents' job is to not mess with a child's mind and warp it. Demons attack the most vulnerable, and gatekeepers are errant in their job. Keeping the home safe from invaders is their priority. What do you think?
It's a really good analogy. It's a great comparison.
Because I didn't really think beyond. I understand your point yesterday about you got to let parents be parents, but if the parents don't intervene, and then what is also the impact outside of the home when they allow that kid to transition in second grade? Then they go to the school.
On the other kids, on the people that this child is going to interact with.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely a fair point. And I think one of the points that I was making that may have been missed a little bit is that as parents ourselves, we need to be teaching in our own home those values that we hold dear. Yeah. And hopefully what we're teaching at home will affect our children, and they'll be able to impact other children that they deal with. That is my hope. Again, I wish I had a full answer to this. I don't. I just know how I go about trying to handle this with my children, and that's who I can be responsible for them too.
And you're a parent, and you've got that right. Obviously. Let's look at this twist on all of this. Seattle Public Schools, Karen, are now offering free sex change services. By the way, there's nothing free, so it's a public school. So the taxpayers in Seattle are paying for
it's subsidized.
right? Free sex change services to students as young as 13. Here's the key. Without telling the parents. At first I thought the 13, as young as 13 was the problem. But then I see they don't tell the parents. How can you change a 13-year-old sex without telling the parents? To what Terrance
And they're giving these kids medication? Like, this is unbelievable. I mean,
right.
how is
and then
that
what
not,
impact
like,
is the medication beyond the sex
this
change?
is a minor.
Right, they're under 18. How do you get away with doing this without telling the parents?
Yeah, that in and of itself is disturbing. It's frightening. It probably is illegal and should be. And then I'll just get back to schools are places of education. So show me where in the curriculum there is anything that has to do with you as a school funding sex changes. Like, let's be honest, schools operate based on a curriculum, not based on social issues, not based on medical issues. You're supposed to follow a curriculum. So where in the curriculum or where in any sort of school rules does it say that you as the school body should be responsible for helping a child physically and medicinally change his or her gender? I suspect no one can point that out anywhere.
I don't know. I'm so glad I'm not raising like small children right now. I mean, I feel for my grandkids, but I think about my own kids. My kids wore uniforms to school. Like, there was none of this. And my kids are not, that old, that I don't remember when they were in school. So twisted.
Yeah, when I read some of these things, I think about my kids just got out of some of these public schools. And they just missed it, like you say.
Yeah, just missed it.
I know how I would grapple with some of these things, but what if they get your kid in a corner and say, well, you can do this and don't tell dad, don't tell mom? What? That's what they're doing in Seattle. So what if even you're an engaged parent and they're doing this behind your back?
It's just incredible to me how quickly our educational system has been infiltrated, I think was my point in putting that in perspective, that it was just, less than a decade ago that kids were not being taught this.
Right. And Terrance, you were saying a moment ago about how there's a curriculum and these political things should not be on it. It's basically like people joke, reading, writing, arithmetic, the 3 R's. But to twist what you said a little bit, actually, that's no longer the curriculum, the reading, writing, arithmetic, right? It is this political agenda, and then that's how this happens, because between the teachers' unions and the leftists that are controlling these schools and the school districts and the school boards, which is why we've talked, going back to Glenn Youngkin's race in 2021 in Virginia about taking back the school boards, and now people have gotten more active there, right? You're right that it's not part of the curriculum, but I'd argue now it is in some places.
And that's fair. I will say that as probably the only person on this show that does have younger children, I am shocked and probably to some degree still in disbelief and maybe even not accepting what's happening right now in schools. As I've said on several occasions, we have family friends, kids who I've known since they were kindergartners, who are transitioning, who have these different gender ideologies, and it's still unbelievable. Like, I still grapple with it, trying to determine what happened, because these are families.
Well, I got an answer.
Go ahead,
All right,
please.
here's a video. Let's play the video and then you react. Apparently, it was a week or so ago, Non-Binary Awareness Week. This is a preschool teacher, Teachers College Early Childhood Center. Watch.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leslie, and my pronouns are they, them. And I'm Ray. My pronouns are also they, them. And what are we celebrating this week, Ray? It is Non-Binary Awareness Week. And what does that mean? Well, that means if you don't feel like a boy in your heart or a girl in your heart, or if you feel like neither or both, you are seen, you are loved, and you are supported no matter what. That's right. We love you for who you are, no matter what you might look like on the outside. We know who you are on the inside. And to all of our friends who might not be non-binary, how can we help them support our non-binary friends? Well, you can always make sure you're using the right pronouns because you want to respect your friends. Well, what if somebody accidentally calls me the wrong pronoun and you're with me? What would you do? Oh, I would simply say, oh, excuse me.
Terrance is saying, how did this happen? This is a preschool, not even second grade, fourth grade, preschool.
The butchering of the English language with the misuse of pronouns bother anybody else? Because I feel like we're teaching children. Children are there to learn academics. This goes against that. Just on the simplest level.
I will say, still for me, it's all so very far-fetched. Yes, it's reality. I've seen it face to face. Again, I know kids who are there, but it's still also very far-fetched for me. It's weird. I'm sorry, it is. It's weird to me.
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And the fact that if you called someone the wrong pronoun, you could sort of be chastised. It's like a whole other side of this that's just utterly ridiculous.
I see people in our live chat on Getter and Rumble saying, I'm tired of these videos. It's sick what's going on.
It really is.
And one person actually said, Trump said they're sick people.
They are.
Do you believe him now? That's from Eagle Wone.
They've shown us enough, right?
Right. And when Trump said that at rallies, he got attacked by the left, like, he's calling these people sick. And I think the person we just saw, the preschool teacher, is sick.
Yeah, mental health. Yeah,
but then what do they do to your children and grandchildren? If they're sick, they're teaching them. It's crazy.
Yep.
One quick thing here from the Biden administration, a little update on Sam Brinton. Non-binary ex-Biden official Sam Brinton was on a secret taxpayer-funded trip. At the time, Karyn, he started stealing all that luggage to get women's clothing from a Las Vegas airport.
Because he's mentally healthy, right? Because mentally healthy people dress in women's clothes and steal those women's clothes off of baggage carousels.
I can't imagine that he is well.
Right.
To answer your question, yes, I think he was sick. Federal funds paid for by non-binary Britain,
Here we go again.
who uses they/them pronouns to head to the city of Las Vegas as a representative for the Department of Energy's Office of Nuclear Energy. He was on a trip. It was during this trip that Britain was caught on camera swiping a woman's suitcase, one of 3 incidents in which he was accused of doing this. Terrance, real quick, so it's interesting. The new angle is, we didn't know this guy on vacation.
I'm sorry. Please take down the video.
You can't even look at it. It's ridiculous. He looks like an evil cartoon character. Let's call it what it is. I mean, it looks ridiculous, like some sort of
when he
cartoon
stole the
villain.
women's dresses, we were paying for him to travel to Las Vegas for an official Biden trip.
Oh, I'm sure. Was Hunter there? Was there cocaine on the trip? I have so many questions.
So we always have a good story, and then Karyn says, was there cocaine there?
What do you mean? It's still a good story. Why?
Was his friend David there?
Right, where was Paul Pelosi?
But since it was technically funded by the Biden administration, does that make the Biden administration an accessory or a co-conspirator to the crime?
Interesting. We should
just put it out there.
They're above the law. No, they're above the law.
Karyn's got a quick answer.
The answer.
There's 2 tiers of justice, Terrance. They ain't going to get in trouble. How about that? Why don't you grab some headlines?
All right, guys. Happening this week, the Senate Judiciary Committee will begin debating and likely vote on legislation to create a binding ethics code for all Supreme Court justices. The move comes amid criticism of justices failing to disclose luxury trips, real estate transactions, and pressuring universities to buy their books. Thursday, senators on the Judiciary Committee will consider new requirements for financial disclosures and recusal from cases in which a justice may have a conflict of interest. As it stands, Supreme Court justices don't have a binding ethics code. However, they are subject to disclosure laws, which of course require reporting outside income and certain gifts. 16 Republicans accused of acting as fake electors for President Trump during the 2020 election are facing felony charges this morning. Michigan's Democrat Attorney General filed those charges on Tuesday. All 16 suspects are accused of forgery and conspiracy to commit election forgery. The group includes the head of the Republican National Committee's chapter in Michigan, as well as the former co-chair of the Michigan Republican Party. The Attorney General is out with a statement this morning saying, and I quote, "The false electors' actions undermine the public's faith in the integrity of our elections and, we believe, also plainly violated the laws by which we administer our elections in Michigan." Massive lottery jackpots are up for grabs this week after no one matched the winning numbers. The Mega Millions lottery is up to $720 million, making it the 5th largest in the game's history. The Powerball jackpot stands at an estimated $1 billion, marking the 3rd largest haul in that lottery. If you want to try your luck despite the long odds, tonight is the next Powerball drawing. The next Mega Millions drawing is set for Friday. So Ed and Karyn, if either of you guys try and buy one of those tickets and you happen to win, I'll take 1% 1% of the winnings. That's all. 1%. I'm good with that.
You got 1%, and I'll be here the next morning doing the show, I promise.
Okay, I
really
would too. I wouldn't quit my job if I ever won the lottery.
Stops you.
Because he delivers. Because mailman delivers.
Yes.
I think you know.
No, through rain or sleet or snow or any circumstances, I can assure you, if it's not a pre-planned day off, Ed Henry will be here.
That's funny. Karyn dropping some truth bombs that she knows I can't comment on just yet, but I will soon. In the meantime, Terrance, we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Why don't we get to a segment we like to call
Trump was right.
Okay.
The mailman delivers. How about that? And you're right. Rain or snow, I'll be here, and that's what you're talking about. I get it. Trump was right that Biden would be a disaster. And I think this is interesting because he rarely gets on Fox News, as we've talked about. But he was on with Maria Bartiromo the other day. I don't know if you saw this clip, but look at it. He gets criticized. Oh, what's his agenda? He does the Agenda 47 all the time. Here's like 40 seconds where I think he boils down why he should be elected again. It's pretty good. Watch.
Do you have a plan to get independents and suburban women to believe that your policies will make their lives better?
It's called safety. It's called the border. It's called a strong military. It's called low taxes and low interest rates so you can buy a home. It's called keeping low-income housing out of the neighborhood of somebody that's very proud of their house in Westchester, New York, and they don't want to see their house value crash, which I did previously. But it's really about safety, and it's about low taxes, and it's about not going into ridiculous wars. You would have never had the war with Ukraine and Russia had I been involved. You would have never had this talk with China going into Taiwan. Just wouldn't have happened. And it didn't happen. Actually, even the Democrats say, well, whatever you want to say about them, it wouldn't have happened.
Safety on the streets, strong border, low taxes, low inflation, right? Go through that list, and it's pretty damn strong. And you go back to Reagan versus Carter. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? I think Donald Trump in 40 seconds laid it out.
Make America great again? Is that what he laid out? MAGA 2024. Let's go.
You're so good.
Let's go.
I'm giving Donald Trump props for 40 seconds, and you boiled it down to 2 or 3.
Let's go, MAGA.
There you go. 2 seconds. I counted. Real quick, in all seriousness, he mentioned the border. Look at this Daily Mail story. Nearly 10,000 Americans are still dying from drug overdoses every single month, Karyn. Every month.
120,000 a year.
And what is being done? I mean, Trump was securing the border. He's building the wall. And he had Kellyanne Conway dealing with the opioid crisis. I'm not saying they had the whole thing solved.
Where is the Biden administration? Nothing. Are they talking about the opioid crisis?
He had the wall. He had people like Tom Homan on the
Zero.
board. He had Kelly. Again, I'm not saying Kellyanne Conway solved the opioid crisis. This is complicated. It's going to take years. But they were making progress. And to your point, have you heard Biden talk about the opioid crisis?
No, not
like
at all.
Like a speech or anything?
Zero, nothing.
And 10,000.
And we have drag queens at the White House, and Hunter is smoking crack, and there's cocaine. It's crazy.
See, I think I set it up well, and then you always deliver these great punches, and they're great, and they're true.
It's all true, and it sounds crazy when you say it out loud that that's actually what's going on. And he's falling asleep yesterday with the Israeli Prime Minister.
It's crazy. And 10,000 real American voices every month in this country are dying because this guy is doing nothing. It's something to think about. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll try to drain the swamp. It is time to drain the swamp. Enough is enough. 81 million. That's what happens. There's election fraud, and then we get all of these problems because you get people in power who don't solve it. We'll talk about it right after.
81 million votes my ass.
Cocaine. It's the new version, updated version. You had that idea about covering Eric Clapton. It was a good one, and we've executed it, and the song's doing great. And it's time to expose the truth. How about that?
Absolutely. Put down Hunter's crack pipe right now.
That's another song, but I like that line, too, from Carrie Lake. In the meantime, it's time to drain the swamp. Yeah, this is sponsored by Sea of Mud. Great patriot there, Kyle Conforti, sent me a note a couple days ago saying, as he gets ready to move from California to the free state of Tennessee, not just his family, but the business as well, they're marking down some of the T-shirts, some of those great shirts. The Joe's Laundry service with the Ukrainian flag on the laundromat with the money that was laundered. That's a good one.
Very, very appropriate shirt.
Trader Joe's with a T, Trader Joe's. Everything's for sale with the Biden family. That's a great one as well. So anyway, in all seriousness, check out seaofmud.com. They've got some low prices, and they've decided to cut it 50% off on shipping and handling. So wherever you are in this great country, you're going to get a great deal from Sea of Mud. We appreciate their sponsorship. In the meantime, we're talking about draining the swamp. Someone we didn't get to, we played a lot of clips in the last couple of days, President Trump and others. There are two more patriots that I want to make sure we highlight. So when talking about draining the swamp, Lauren Boebert came from Colorado and gave a speech that when you talk about draining the swamp, it's not just Republicans taking on Democrats. It's important for a Republican like her to say it's time for America First candidates to actually govern the way they campaign. Because you keep seeing this with McCarthy and some of his friends, maybe MTG, viewers not happy.
Yeah.
They campaign one way and govern another. Here's Boebert.
Even just this week, House Republicans came together. A lot of them didn't want to. But my friends and I, we proved that we aren't going to be bullied. We aren't going to be lied to. We don't care about the attack ads. We don't care about the pressure or the chairmanships or the stats in D.C. We care for you. And it's time that Republicans govern as they campaign. This week, we came together to authorize programs and spending in our military. We took actions to restore the integrity of our military, took actions to remove the policies that are crushing recruitment because our servicemen and women don't want to fight woke wars. We even said, let's give these great men and women the largest pay increase they've seen in 20 years. We took action, and it wasn't easy to get there. It was a fight. But we took action to prevent the unlawful use of federal funds to pay for traveling to murder innocent babies.
And good on Lauren Boebert for calling out Republicans, not just Democrats. I'm noticing in her live chat on Getter, by the way. Shar1776 shouting out Sea of Mud saying, I got the Joe's Laundry t-shirt and it's gorgeous.
I
That's
love
great.
that.
Patriots supporting
That's your
Patriots.
favorite shirt, I think.
I do. I love that. Sound of Freedom we've been talking about as well. I don't want to miss that Tim Ballard also gave a great speech. And he's a big part of Sound of Freedom and called out Joe Biden. Watch.
Why do they not want you to see Sound of Freedom? They're going to expose the truth. And what truth? What conversation are they afraid to have? I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you what it is. I was a few weeks ago. I was on the Hill talking to a group of congressional Republicans, and they were asking me about the border, and they were just appalled, as I am, as you are. In the last 2 years alone, 85,000 unaccompanied minors, thousands of them, according to CBP data, under 5 years old. Okay, what is a 3-year-old showing up at the port of entry or at the border alone? What's going on? Oh, and by the way, there's a bracelet around them. You've seen this? I mean, they're branding the kids. I mean, this is an organized effort by criminal organizations to traffic children. And 85,000 of those kids show up at the border over the last 2 years.
That went on for a while. His speech was several minutes long. We got to get to the opening bell in a second. But he laid it on the line. I was there, and he said that Joe Biden is doing nothing. And remember, the Department of Justice pulled off the whole child trafficking thing as a priority and have kind of lowered it in their priorities.
Yeah, they've lowered a lot of their priorities. But you know what? Tim Ballard is a very brave man. God bless him for doing what he's doing. He's really in God's fight.
Absolutely. We saw him and his team at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Orlando, and we're so glad this movie is doing so well. So many patriots supporting it. We're going to turn to the economic news, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Wow, I think we just about timed it perfectly. If I'm looking at my app right. Yes! We got the sound bites, we got the AMAC. And now we got the bell, Terrance. I see you smiling, and it's looking like a green day to start. Dow's up 118 points, S&P up 12 points, NASDAQ up 47 points. So we'll see. It's a positive start, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. We shall see. In the meantime, the Federal Reserve will meet again next week, and the central bank is expected to raise interest rates yet again after deciding not to during its June meeting. However, economists believe the July interest rate hike will be the last increase of the current cycle. If that's the case, it would also end a year of consistent interest rate hikes, which have been the most aggressive in the history of the central bank. The sustained economic tightening policy was targeted at forcing inflation down, and while year-to-year inflation is down, cost increases are still above the Fed's 2% target. In the meantime, the dollar is at its lowest level in more than a year against the other major currencies. A weaker dollar is expected to make imports costlier, and as a result, price pressures are expected to be elevated still. As central banks in countries like China, India, and Australia begin transitioning to a digital currency, the Federal Reserve has been contemplating the very same thing here in the United States. With the digital currency, the government could track every single purchase you make. Officials could even prohibit you from purchasing certain items or products, or they could easily freeze or seize part or all of your money. These are just some of the reasons concerned Americans are reaching out to the Birch Gold Group. They really want to have a physical asset that's independent of the U.S. dollar, and gold would be the thing. In fact, gold held tax-sheltered in a retirement account is specifically what Americans are looking for. Learn if gold is the right thing for you simply by texting the word America to the number 989898, and the Birch Gold Group will then send you a free information kit on gold. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of satisfied customers, and countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold has been helping many people just like you from the very beginning. So again, text the word America to the number 989898 and claim your free information kit on gold, because if a central bank digital currency becomes reality, it'll be nice to have a little bit of gold on hand that you can depend on. That's a quick check of your economic headlines brought to you by AMAC. Guys?
All right, appreciate it. Terrance, stay right there. So I'm looking at the live chat. We were talking about Boebert and Lauren Boebert and her comments at Turning Point Action, and I interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we had some commentary about that the last couple of days because I asked her head on, what's the deal with you appearing to turn away from MAGA? And she didn't really answer the question. Some people wanted me to ask more follow-ups. We kind of ran out of time. I was trying to be polite. It's complicated. You don't want to, I still respect her. I don't want to just hammer on it, but I'm looking at our chat. Ultra MAGA says, so upsetting, Ari MTG. And if you look at our first Getter post here, this from Patriot 709, Karen, I want you to react. They wrote me and said, they saw the clip of me interviewing. She's dodging just like a rhino. What happened?
I don't know. And, I watched the video again and again, and I've always liked MTG. I mean, recently, I feel the same way the audience does. It doesn't make sense to me. Here's this person that was really pro-MAGA, that was really pro-Trump, that seems to have changed her tune at least a little bit based on some of the things we're seeing. And, you asked her to sort of acknowledge what was happening and what's going on, and she dodged the question a little bit.
She's becoming a politician, or is now a full-fledged politician, because she gave you one answer. Oh, well, I'm really focusing on these grooming laws, and that's really my focus. But she didn't actually answer the question. She answered what she wanted to in her way, in a way that she felt would highlight her position.
Shifted it, like politicians, like you said.
And Yeah, and then, we wonder what's underneath that, like what's the motivation, and when they're not transparent, you have to question what the motivation is.
Absolutely. Real quick, Terrance, you love the music. How about this idea? Becky sent us a new cocaine song, not the Clapton one. Love you in Mailman Media, but another idea for cocaine in the White House. Men at Work. Who can it be now?
Great song. I was actually playing this the other day. That's really funny.
So they say not as good as Karen's idea, but it's still a good one. So what do you think? Who could it be that would have cocaine in the White House? It's an interesting idea, Terrance.
I like it.
Who could it be?
I think we all have an idea.
All right, there you go. I'm trying to get an answer. You're like MTG. You're dodging. You know the answer. Anyway, I'm teasing you. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back and do a 60-second sunrise with our man in Washington, Joe Weber. Can't wait for that. We're also supposed to talk to somebody at Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign, so we're trying to get them on the line. Hopefully that'll happen today. If not, we'll move it to tomorrow. How about that? Quick break. We're back with a lot more news.
I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. If you having woke problems, I feel bad for you, bro.
That's right. Can't afford the groceries. Can't afford the gas either under Joe Biden. And that's why Donald Trump's been rising in the polls. That's also why RFK Jr. has been rising in the polls. We're going to talk to one of his top advisors, Tony Lyons, who's a great American patriot, in a minute. Joe Biden's got a real problem on the Democrat side. RFK Jr. is doing really well.
He's got a lot of problems everywhere.
Well, the economy's not strong.
Falling asleep.
Weak around the world. Falling asleep in the Oval Office yesterday. A lot to cover. Let's start with a 60-second sunrise out of Washington. All right, this is where we check in with maybe the most popular man on the show. His name is Joe Weber. There's a lot of people in the live chat on Getter.
Yeah.
They changed their Getter handles to reflect their support and love for Joe. I don't have that. Joe, good morning. Welcome back.
It's a cult following.
It is, and he deserves it because he's a great reporter and an even better man. We know that. I used to work with him at Fox, in fact. And we used to run into each other in D.C. restaurants, and we always had a good time because you're a good man. Tell us about volcanoes. I'm hearing that you've got a story about volcanoes being tied to green energy. What in the world is going on?
Yeah, so the green energy movement might have a new hustle. We've talked about this before, about how mining minerals for electric vehicle batteries is an environmental hazard unto itself, but now the green energy movement thinks it has a new answer: volcanoes. So they've always been an abundant source of geothermal energy, but now this new study out of Oxford University is finding that those minerals for the EV batteries, like lithium and zinc, they could be mined from what they call volcano brine. The study author says it's a novel way to extract metal-bearing fluids in a way that dramatically reduces the environmental impact. However, we've talked to a group called Power for the Future. This is what they have to say. When you consider that supporters of this idea say they will need substantial investments, the picture becomes a lot more clear. While the green movement looks for answers, American energy workers will continue to provide the power we need here in the United States.
All right. Very interesting. I still don't know that I fully follow it, but I know you're following it and you're all over it, and we'll follow the latest green energy push, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Joe Weber, the always popular Joe Weber, we'll see you tomorrow, I hope. In the meantime, let's get to 2024 is getting saucy. Yep, this is sponsored by Red State Barbecue. Go to redstatebbq.com. Use that promo code to get 10% off. Just got that new batch of South Carolina mustard. That's your favorite. You're going to have that? I'll make sure you have it. I'll get a new bottle tomorrow. You can bring that home and enjoy that for dinner. In the meantime, 2024 is getting saucy on the Republican side. We've certainly been talking all morning about Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. DeSantis turning on him again over J6 now. But the Democratic side has been very interesting. We haven't had a chance to dig in on that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. really giving a race to Joe Biden. I mean, he's really been rising in the polls, and we thought we'd invite in a new friend of the show. His name is Tony Lyons. He's an advisor to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he's kind enough to join us. Welcome to American Sunrise. You're with Ed and Karen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Tony, we'll get to the controversy, but this is not a gotcha show, so we're not going to focus on what the media has been talking about for a few days. We'll ask you about it in a minute. We want to give you a fair chance on that. But what I really want to do is start with, why is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running? Why does he want to be president? What is this campaign all about, sir?
So I think that, Bobby Kennedy sees this as a turning point in U.S. history, that there's been this incredible takeover by a handful of big corporations run by a handful of billionaires who have taken over the U.S. government agencies. So what he wants to do is decouple that to allow the government to work for the people of this country and not for those big corporations. So he's going to be a politician who would tell the truth, who would protect free speech in this country, who would stop the incredible censorship and the propaganda that's coming out of the government. And, that I think is, part of his plan to rebuild the middle class, to get us out of these foreign wars, these endless wars, bring the troops home, and have this country be a country that we can all be proud of once again.
Absolutely.
Our chat's going crazy, obviously. And I think the resounding comment is, but he's a Democrat. And I just keep seeing that again and again and again. And, our audience, a lot of real Americans, don't trust anybody who's on that side of the aisle at that point in any way, shape, or form. So how do you get around that?
Yeah, because a lot of our audience are Trump supporters.
How do you get around
but
that?
What I see personally, and then to answer Karen, to get you in there, Tony, is that I see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a disruptor, even if you're not a traditional Democrat in the audience. He's somebody who's challenging the swamp, if you will, for lack of a better term, just like Trump did. But how do you see it, sir?
So I think that's right, but I think people ought to look at this as such a turning point that it's really not about left or right. It's really about right or wrong. It's seeing this country to a position where we can be proud of it, where we're going to really uphold the American values that are so important to our history and to our possible future.
Yeah, and free speech is a big part of this American experience. I want to put up on the screen on Thursday, I believe, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is scheduled to testify before a Republican-led committee, and Jim Jordan, the Weaponization of Government Committee that we all know about, to talk about government censorship. I want to give you a chance to preview what he might say and ask it in this frame, which is that you were referring to the government working for the corporations. I've heard this phrase, agency capture. that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been talking about. And some have tried to pigeonhole him as an anti-vaccine candidate. I know that's part of the agenda, but I see it as somebody, he's challenging Pfizer and these corporations that maybe had a hold on our government, but that's not all he's talking about. So tell us about what he might say about censorship by YouTube and others. And is this campaign bigger than just vaccines?
Much bigger than vaccines. So this is a campaign that's about corruption. So, if you're a big corporation and you see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a threat to your revenue stream, you will use any power you have, and they have just an incredible amount of power now. So you would use that power to vilify him in every way you can. You would call him a conspiracy theorist. You would call him an anti-vaxxer. You would call him dangerous. But the question is, what is he dangerous to? And I think that you're right, that he's dangerous to the swamp. He's dangerous to people who have taken over this country, who have co-opted democracy in America. And he would end that. He would put people in charge of the government agencies who would then make sure that they're not working for the corporations, that they're working for the American people.
Yeah, I mean, that's music to the ears of our chat who, they're all chatting about the World Economic Forum and, big government and all the things that are wrong. But Love America says, on the Kennedy side, he's pro-open borders. How would you answer that? I mean, the open border thing seems to be a real issue. And Love America is saying that, Robert Kennedy is pro-open borders.
So that's the farthest thing from the truth. He has said time after time that he would make the border impervious. That is his exact word. So he's very close to Trump there in the sense that, he doesn't believe that we can have a country, that the most powerful country on the planet can just have an open border that anybody can walk across. Clearly, we need a lot of people coming to this country to do work. Those are jobs that are often unfilled, and we need people, but we need it to be organized, and we need it to be planned, and we need to think it through. So we can't just have a border where anybody can walk across. And he took a trip down to the border and really broke news when he went there, that he talked about people from China who had flown into Mexico City and then taken a bus or a car to the border to just walk across. And that just seems so terrible that we can have a border where that's possible. I can't go to any other country and just walk across the border. Why should people be able to do that here?
Yeah.
Well, and Joe Biden, there's no record of Joe Biden going to the border as president, vice president, or senator. And so salute Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for actually going to the border, as you say, and highlighting this important issue as Donald Trump has.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's another question in the chat that I wanted to read as well. Tony G wanted to know, TPUSA just happened this past weekend, and I guess RFK was scheduled to speak and turn Charlie Kirk down, at least according to our chat. Not saying it's accurate, but do you want to address that?
I don't actually know the details of that, but more than any candidate in my lifetime, Bobby Kennedy is willing to talk to anybody to protect the future of this country. So he's been willing to talk to people on the left, on the right, in the center, absolutely anybody. And he believes in negotiation and in trying to represent all the people of this country. Biden said he would do that various times. We all know that isn't true.
Yeah. So let me ask the controversy that I teed up. So I'm reading the mainstream media. I don't have to tell you, been writing the same. They've been writing the same story. They say he's facing widespread criticism from political leaders and civil rights organizations after that video surfaced of him making false claims that COVID-19 was "quote unquote" ethnically targeted to attack certain ethnic groups while sparing Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. And they call it a conspiracy theory. And Kerry Kennedy, as you know, and other Kennedy family members are now saying they condemn her brother's deplorable and untruthful remarks. I wonder how much of this is more about Democrat Party politics and getting behind Biden and family disputes. I will leave that aside for a moment, but give you a chance, sir, Tony, to address the controversy, because now even members of his family are condemning him. What's the truth, sir?
So the true story is that he's always been pro-Israel. There is no truth to the allegations, that his words were just twisted. It's part of a playbook. They're trying to do to him what they did to Bernie Sanders. they don't want real dialogue, real debate. They don't want people to know what he really believes. So they make up all of these narratives and they run hit piece after hit piece in every major newspaper. So the idea that the American public is smarter than that, and they are seeing what's really happening here, that the people who are doing this are afraid that he is an honest politician who will fight for the people of this country on the left and the right, and he'll do great things. And they don't want that because it's a threat to corporate profits. It's a threat to corruption. It's a threat to, like you said, the swamp.
Yeah, there was also some talk in our chat that maybe, he could be a VP pick. Very few people were chatting about their work view.
Well, I was going to ask that. Final question. We're out of time. We hope you'll come back soon. I know anybody running for president on either side doesn't want to say, yeah, I'll be number 2. They want to be number 1. But whether he's 1 or 2, could there be a Trump-Kennedy ticket or a Kennedy-Trump ticket, as Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, and others have suggested? Is there any possibility of a fusion with Donald Trump?
I have no idea whether that could happen, but I would say that what I would really like to see is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. debating Donald Trump, because there's so much fear of debate. And I know that Donald Trump isn't afraid of debating anybody, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not afraid of debating anybody. So I would love to see that happen, to see them on the same stage, looking through all of the different ideas, because the political process in this country has to come down to ideas, not about hit pieces, not about vilification, not about taking people off big tech platforms, but what are these people actually going to do for the American people?
All right, so if you can get Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to a debate stage and we can get Donald Trump there and we reach out to his people, can we do it right here on Real America's Voice? Kennedy versus Trump. Can you commit to that?
I have no idea whether I could make that happen, but I love the idea of it.
All right. I love the idea.
I love it too.
We're going to talk to our boss about it. In all seriousness, Tony Lyons, thanks for answering the tough questions. And we look forward to having you back, sir. Tony Lyons, an advisor to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's nice.
That was great.
We appreciate you. It's nice to have a conversation.
It was.
With
It
people
was great.
from all backgrounds.
The chat was going crazy. So even though there was a little negativity in there, it was really a good conversation.
Let's have a conversation. Let's hear all kinds of real American voices, as we say, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or independent. We'll take a quick break. We'll digest that. Have Terrance comment, see what he thought about all of that, and we'll do some Sunny Side Up as well. This is a good one. It's really cute, and I know Bannon loves when we end the show on a cute note.
He loves
likes that.
It's his favorite.
Coming up. Ukraine with cocaine.
Yeah.
Tying it all together for the Bidens.
Yeah. What?
I was waiting for a snappy comment.
I don't know. I think I'm out of snappy comments. I'm a little tired this morning.
You had a lot of snappy comments in the first hour, so maybe take a nap.
I got them all out of the way.
All right, time to spill some tea. This is sponsored by the Artillery Tea Company. Go to artilleryteaco.com. I think the morning mother of all bombs is the way to go. Karyn likes the chamomile. The green tea is good as well. It's pretty hot. We were just talking. It is hot in Florida. It's hot where a lot of people are right now. Texas, record temperatures, Arizona. And so you know what? Get some of this great tea and ice it. How about that? That's a good suggestion for the summer. Take your nap. Get up from the nap. Get some tea. Maybe you do the sun tea, then take the nap. Depending on how long it is, maybe it's brewed.
I mean, it's pretty hot out. I could probably do it during the nap. I could probably put it out, take the nap, and then drink the tea.
You think ahead.
Smart.
There you
I like
go.
it.
And this is a patriotic company. They give money back to various patriotic causes, first responders, and military charities. Support them today. They're a great sponsor. I hear you laughing, Terrance. Is there something wrong with what I said?
Not at all. You guys are like a little old couple. I'm going to do this. No, you should do this. No, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You guys are like a little old couple.
We are sometimes.
I'm just trying to make that suggestion. It's just a helpful suggestion.
Good point.
You know, the first hour you guys got on me about that video. By the way, I'm going to dig into that Belgian defense video. I just want you to know.
I think you should. We need to know who this man is.
So
we need to know more.
We know that The Simpsons.
Does he like In-N-Out Burger?
You got to download the app to get those. So Dobby the Elf always writes to us and says, you know, The Simpsons predicted the future. How about Barney Miller in 1981? Watch.
I just wanted to meet them face to face. I wanted them to admit what they were doing.
Who is they? He was in the office of the Trilateral Commission. Trilateral Commission? Yeah, the Trilateral Commission. All right, what is the Trilateral Commission? It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
That's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community.
Karyn, it goes on a little bit, but I think Dobby's got a point. That sounds a lot. It was crazy in
Sound like Davos? Sound like a World Economic Forum? Come on.
Population control.
100%.
And they were laughing, and he wanted to arrest people who were trying to do this. And they're like, oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. I think maybe he was right.
I think they were ahead of their time.
Barney Miller, how about that? Let's get to Sunny Side Up. Hold hands when they sleep so they will not drift away from each other.
I know.
You heard about this?
I know about this.
I saw this video.
Isn't this great?
Patriots, we'll see you tomorrow. We end on a cute note for Steve Bannon in the War Room.